So there is a big campaign and a big push to make sure that we flip New Jersey red, Chrissy. And I feel like this is such a big thing. If we can do this, if we can get a Republican as governor of a state like New Jersey, I think it would be great. Jack Ciattarelli, I got a chance to interview him. Great guy. He ran previously, but the guy who's running against was an incumbent. It was a very tough race. And now he's sort of head to head, and his opponent has said some really crazy things. She's got a lot of scandals of her own. But one of the things they're doing out there is there's a group that was inspired, by the way, Chrissy, by, you brought him up a minute ago, Charlie Kirk, who is saying, you know what, we're not going to just take this lying down. They are saying they're going to knock on more than 510,000 doors. They did in Pennsylvania and during the presidential election, and it actually made a huge difference. They're going to do the same thing in New Jersey, and they're chasing the ballot. And what that means is, you've heard of you've heard of how we don't like mail-in voting, but the reality is we kind of have it as it is, and we have to deal with things as we have them. And you hear the way that Democrats go out and they kind of stuff the ballots and they gather things illegally and they do things that they shouldn't. Well, you can go door to door and you can chase these ballots. You can remind people, Chrissy, that it's time to turn in your ballot. You can put it in your mailbox right now. We don't do anything with it, but you can do it. You can go vote right now today. So they're going out there, and they have so far, the New Jersey Chase team knocked on 284,565 doors, encouraging Republicans to request, complete, and return their mail-in ballots. I think, Chrissy, we're going to see something happen in New Jersey. I got to say it right now. I think that people are ripe for change. They've seen the positive shift in this country under this president. I think a lot of people in New Jersey are probably sick of the nonsense. And look, it's all about showing up, right? If people showed up for these sort of one-off elections like we do during a presidential election, Chrissy, I think Jack Ciattarelli has it in the bag. But I give a lot of credit to this New Jersey Chase team who's out there making sure that people are returning their mail-in ballots. This could be the difference in this race.
It's always confused me why Republicans haven't done this as long as Democrats have, because the ground game for Democrats, I remember being in college and getting so many knocks. This was 2019, so right before the 2020 election, getting so many door knocks about, actually, I guess it was midterm elections. It was when I was living in Michigan, so Gretchen Whitmer was getting elected as governor of Michigan. And it was a whole big thing, and every single door knocker, not a single one was Republican. And it always befuddled me, because it was in a massive college town with 60,000 students alone. They're not all Democrats, it was weird to me. And so to see that the Republicans have upped their ground game since 2018, to see what we see now, which would hopefully be flipping an entire state red, that would be unreal. And let me just say, I don't want to speak out of turn when I say this, but that would be the legacy of Charlie Kirk, because a lot of people see Turning Point for the glitz and the glam, but as someone that worked there as, in their field program and then in their contributorship program, they are all about grit. They are so about getting on the ground, helping people on the action side win elections. It is incredibly impressive, and that's the legacy that Charlie left for us, and it would be amazing to see that fulfilled within only a couple months of his tragic passing.
I remember talking to Charlie about this for the 2024 election. You're exactly right, Chrissy. It's boots on the ground. It's people actually getting out there and doing the work. And this ballot chasing initiative, we did this all over the country, everywhere we possibly could, and Turning Point was a huge part of that in 2024. So to see people, look, obviously I'm not at the RNC anymore, but to see people continuing to do this and push for it, and a lot of people would have looked at New Jersey and said, not worth it, Mary. It's not worth our time or our energy to get involved in a state that's been traditionally blue. And we don't really know if anyone, we had Chris Christie there, I guess, but people oftentimes just kind of decide to, whatever you want to say about that. I don't have a lot of nice things, so I'll keep my mouth shut. But people oftentimes just write it off, and they're like, we're not going to try, we're not going to put the effort in. I think people are putting the effort into this race, and I'm hopeful, Mary, that it pays off.
Yeah, you know what? It's very similar to what Chrissy was talking about, the college towns. A lot of Republicans wrote off college students for a very long time. And it was, the Charlie Kirks of the world who came in and said, it's not time to write off the young people. We can still reach them. There's still a voice that needs to be heard. And if we just tell them that we're going to give them a microphone to talk, we can probably bring them back into the movement. And boy, was he right about that. And I think that there are so many millions of Americans across the country, especially living in blue states, that are like, please give me a mic, let me speak. And so if we just tell them that their mic is their vote and that they can use it at any time that they want to, go out and use it, that I think that there's a chance. I was watching New Jersey as one of those states in the 2024 election.
I know.
Where I was thinking, okay, is it going to go red or is it going to stay blue? And, obviously, unfortunately, it stayed blue, but it, like you said, it went way red. And, what was really shocking to me is California did the same thing. Like, it stayed blue, but it went way red in 2024, redder than it ever had before. And so I think that, that's the populace standing up and going, please don't forget about us. We are still here. And what did you say? 280,000 votes or doors that they've already knocked on, something like that?
Thus far.
That changes an election completely. That is, especially in a statewide election, that's the difference between winning and losing. And so good for them, honestly. The Pennsylvania Chase vote was so successful, and I hope that it's just the same in New Jersey.
Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. We're paying close attention. If you live in New Jersey, make sure you vote in this election. This is so important. We got to send a message. And you know what? I just think overall, Republicans and conservatives finally have found a backbone. They've gotten a backbone from President Trump. A lot of them got a backbone from Charlie Kirk, and people are saying, you know what? We're not just going to take this lying down anymore. You have Benny Johnson, who's going out to California and working hard to make sure that voter ID is something that is permanent in the state of California. That's going to change a lot of the electoral map there in California. So it's good stuff. We got to keep fighting for everything. We can't take anything for granted. So,
for full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.